Good evening, class. Today we are going to learn about complex fractions and rationalizing the denominator. Here we see a function of 19x squared divided by the square root of 19x squared plus 7 minus the square root of 19x squared plus 7, all being divided by 19x squared. Now, in the numerator, we see 19x squared divided by the square root of 19x squared plus 7 minus the square root of 19x squared plus 7. And we could put that in the parentheses, in a set of parentheses, and then take the denominator and put it on the side by dividing it by 19x squared. Now, in a couple cases, you see things being divided by 1 because we need to make it a fraction to find the least common denominator and to compare and contrast much easier. So in the parentheses, we notice that we have a LCD, or least common denominator, of square root of 19x squared plus 7, and we will need to multiply that to the numerator and denominator of square root of 19x squared plus 7 divided by 1. And this will give us (19x squared minus 19x squared plus 7 divided by the square root of 19x squared plus 7, and then multiplied by the reciprocal of 1 divided by 19x squared. And the reason is due to the fact that when you multiply two sets of square roots with the same items underneath, so the radical or the square root sign will disappear. And that leaves us with one set of 19x squared plus 7. Okay, so we may question ourselves about why did I put 19x squared plus 7 in parentheses. It is the fact that we notice a binomial of two terms there, and then we have a minus sign involved as well to forget accidentally. This is to prevent from forgetting and accidentally half foiling the minus through. It needs to be foiled through to both parts. So 19x squared minus 19x squared is 0, and then foil the minus sign to the positive 7, and then we will obtain negative 7 divided by the square root of 19x squared plus 7, and then multiplied by 1 divided by 19x squared. And then again, we need to rationalize the denominator again to get rid of the square root in the denominator. So we will need to multiply once again by the square root of 19x squared plus 7 to the numerator and denominator, and then on the outside multiply by 1 divided by 19x squared. So that will give us negative 7 times the square root of 19x squared plus 7 in the numerator. And then, as mentioned before, when you multiply two square roots together with the same item underneath, whatever is underneath the square root will come out as a set of 1. So we see 19x squared written twice under the square root signs. So the object will come out as 1 because when you do base to the power divides the root, so 19x squared plus 7, and put it in parentheses, and it's written twice, so to the power of 2, and then the root index of a square root is 2, so it'll be to the power of 2 divided by 2, and that will break down to 1. So it'll be 19x squared plus 7 to the power of 1, which breaks down to 19x squared plus 7. And that's more and more into the college algebra rules of roots and radicals, which we will discuss in the next video. So, now in the numerator, and as you notice on the outside of that previous step, 1 times 19x squared. Now in the numerator, we will have negative 7 times the square root of 19x squared plus 7 divided by 19x squared times 19x squared plus 7. Now we need to do 19 times 19. We have to FOIL or distribute 19x squared to 19x squared plus 7 in the denominator. So 19 times 19 is 361. And then x squared times x squared is x to the fourth, because if you have the same base, you add the exponent, so it'll be x to the 2 plus 2, which will give you x to the power of 4. And then 19x squared times 7 will give you plus 133x squared. If you need online math tutoring, please text 559-744-3169 for services. Please donate to my channel on the Cash App with the $sign up front, MLBFan. Again, please donate to my channel on the Cash App with the $sign up front, MLBFAN. Thank you so much. Let's learn math together. Please refer anyone that needs help with math subjects.